Beautiful warriors, thank you so much for tuning in officially with London and I today for our third Unicorn Wellness Warrior Challenge. How are you doing today, London?
I'm great, thank you. How are you? I can't believe it's already.
Our what?
I said I can't believe it's our third already.
I know, our third. So we did the Warrior Cleanse, and then that was in January, and then we did our Sexy Belly Booty Challenge, and then we did our Hormone Code Challenge, and now we're in the Home and Everything Life MAYkover Challenge in May.
Exactly, MAYkover.
MAYkover. It's really cool because I feel like, you know, we're really embarking on a new journey here. We're like creating a community, and it's like, I was talking to someone about this the other day. It's like what our community is. And if you guys have not yet joined our Facebook wellness community, just join, type in Unicorn Wellness Warriors, and you'll find us where we talk about everything that impacts our health, disease, beauty, mindset, everything, sexual health, sleep. And where can you go for that? You know, there's like, you know, you go to Jenny Craig and they teach you to count points. I think it's Jenny Craig, and then there's a couple other ones. You know, you go to
Weight Watchers is points.
That's what it was. Weight Watchers and points. And then Jenny Craig is like buy our meals. And there's like a million ingredients in them, none of which came from a garden. And then there's like, you know, fitness places that teach you that you need to do a lot more cardio, that are not really truly addressing the totality of health. And so there's all these different places that we get our health and information from. You got magazines that say that if you need hormone revival, you've got to take, you know, Premarin, which is horse urine, and it increases your odds of cancer. But you might feel a little bit better with your hot flashes, or take this birth control pill. You know, you got so much information coming at you, literally from so many angles, to the point where it taxes your adrenals, your cortisol stress hormone goes up, your energy level goes down, you're overwhelmed, and you're like, where can I just go one place for all this? Can I just go to one place and trust like one source and enter Unicorn Wellness Warrior group? And that's exactly what we're doing in this group and in our next chapter today. That's actually how
I'm super excited for this next chapter, if you will, because it's kind of like, it's maybe for some people third or fourth chapter that they've been with us, but it's really such a good place for anyone to start. And for all of us, even if we've been doing this for a while, it's so good to have like a refresh and like a re-reminder and re-foundation of like where we are on this planet, what we're surrounded by, what we can do to detoxify our environment and in turn do better for the environment, kind of in our short span that we're here, and just, doing our best to rock it and rock it together. So I think this is a cool month. I'm excited for this month too, because I know there's a lot of areas in my life, especially in this makeover of the home realm, where I really could clean up a lot, or at least, learn a little bit more. So we've learned so much over the last, months creating this challenge. And I think that it's going to be super excited. I'm excited to implement everything with everybody as well.
Yeah, and we all learn together. You know, one of the things I did a video on this a long time ago when I first was trying to help people understand why it's important to stay in a community and or work with someone one-on-one. You know, I always have coaches because I always want to be in the know of the new things that are coming out. So there's a multitude of things that are always changing around us. You know, we think that one day we've got it, we nailed it, we dialed it in, and we never need to, like, okay, then you've been doing something that you've been doing for 8 years. You're like, I heard this 8 years ago, and then you haven't updated it. And so there's many reasons to constantly be, in the know with people who are doing their best, like our group that is trying to give you guys the most recent information. So of course we just had a change of president. I'm not saying whether or not I like this president or not. I'm just saying that there's one thing I don't like about what's happening, and he's tearing down the EPA, and that's the Environmental Protection Agency. There's EWG.org, and I'm going to reference them today when we're talking. EWG.org is a nonprofit organization that's trying to, as much as they can, educate us on all of the toxic products that are creating dis-ease and damage to our bodies and our environment. And so those things are always changing. The politics are changing. The chemicals that are being approved without being tested for safety are changing. Your priorities change. Your health changes. Your job changes. Things change. They're always in motion. And so even me too, like I recently got my hair dyed, and I thought, oh, this sounds really fun. My body was like, screw you. No. And you guys can see this, right here, it's still happening. Do you guys see this dermatitis? All the itching. You see that? Can you guys see that? And
yeah,
then
it's red, but you know what? Your eyes look really great. Like they were a lot more swollen in the beginning.
They were. And whenever I go through this series, and this is my second time doing my hair pink, and this is the other part about it, you guys, is that we are exposed to these toxins, and then we don't correlate them to our symptoms and dis-ease, or our children's symptoms and dis-ease, or infertility, or inability to whatever it is, and we blame it on our bodies and our genetics and our parents or whatever. So a week after I did my hair this color, 1 week, I started the itchy on my neck. I started on my eyes. And had I not been as knowledgeable as I am, and what I hope that we're going to empower you guys with as well, I wouldn't have made that correlation, because you're so far apart, you know, like it was a week prior that I had my hair done, and then a week later I was itchy. And so I was thinking, well, maybe it's my accelerated detox. And so you go through these checklists of maybe it's this, and then I dyed my hair again and it did the exact same thing. So toxins, this is fun, but it's not going to be permanent anymore, because I just can't keep up with it. It makes me miserable. And toxins are doing the same. Our bodies aren't always going to show us on the outside, but anything that's happening on the inside is as a result of some sort of disruption that's happening. Typically it's autoimmune related, and it's in response to these toxins that we're exposed to that we never were before it was like 1920s or so. And then when they started all of this, and now there are almost 100,000 chemicals that we're exposed to. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot. So that was just the first thing I wanted to point out, is that, yeah, they may be fun. Yeah, they may be more convenient. But in the end, what does that mean for our health? What does that mean for our children? Before I get started on the slideshow, I want you guys to know something that really bummed me out. I was just in Costa Rica and I was traveling, and I'm a diver, as you guys probably, maybe you've seen. I'm a diver. And so I see the underwater ocean. I see our creatures, and it's a different level of appreciation, understanding about our own health. Do you believe that our health is in a direct correlate relationship with the health of the planet? I want to see your guys' responses. Do you believe that? So if you see,
I do. Let's see what other people have to say. Alex says yes. Sheila says yes. Karen, yes. Okay. Everyone's we're getting amens on this, so that's good.
And so then we have to wonder how, why we are all God's creatures. We're all one. And so if there's a collapse of one, there's a collapse of another. You guys may have heard the statement that if the bees go, we go. And because bees are responsible for cross-pollinating 1/3 of all of our flowers, and of course citrus and vegetables and mostly fruits, and they're dying at rapid rates, and that's because of these pesticides and the stuff they're spraying in the air. So you see this stuff being sprayed across the sky, and you're like, oh, that's just from an airplane. It's a contrail. No, it's not. It's pesticides, and it's a bunch of heavy metals that are being used to preserve crops and or alter the weather patterns so that it's in favor for farmers and their profits and not our health. And if you want to find that information, it's everywhere, you guys. So it's all around us. When I went diving, I get to see every time I go diving, like what's happening to our planet, and that we are absolutely right after it. So if something's happening with our planet, we're right after. It is now said that we've only got a couple hundred years left on this planet. We can't keep up with the population, the chemicals, etc. And so it's just a thought. It's not an absolute, right? But it's just something to think about, like, whoa, we're really self-deprecating ourselves, and it's because we're literally shitting all over the planet. And so I don't know if you guys really care about the planet as much as I do, but when I heard something the other day, I was destroyed, because the very first scuba dive I ever went on was in the Great Barrier Reef. It was in Australia, and this was 10 years ago. I fell in love with diving at that time, but I also discovered a rebellion streak in me that was so pissed off at what I learned about how the reef has been dying gradually and rapidly over the last 50 years. And so they're like, we don't really know what's left of it. This is what it used to look like. This is what it looks like now. I just read an article the other day that they have just pulled the sheet over the Great Barrier Reef. It's dead. It's officially dead. Our largest underwater ecostructure that feeds so much of the food chain is dead. And what does that mean for us? Like, people think, oh, whatever, it's dead. Like, no big deal. We go through our life cycles, but we're dying too. We are all, of course, dying. But like, do we want to die knowing that we have more control over what we put our bodies in touch with, around our children, the quality of our life? Do we really want to see each other suffer with skin issues and then at a deeper level, cancer and death? This is the immediate and pending topic that we really need to dive deep into, is the two most important things, which is our toxic thoughts and this toxic lifestyle that we're surrounded by. So anything you want to add to that, London, before we move on to the slideshow?
No, I just think it's really cool that you talked about, you know, the concern and how you felt for the environment. And because what we're doing this month really is so, it could be it could be impacting the person who is, you know, concerned about the environment, or maybe it brings in a person who's a mom and she's just worried about her kids and she's never even thought of the environment before, and all of the impacts that it has overall and all the stuff that we'll be going over this month. So I think it's really cool because people can really be coming at this from, for example, the sexy belly booty challenge or whatever, if someone wasn't, or the hormone code, if someone wasn't really having issues with hormones, or they didn't think that they were, it was never in their brain. If someone didn't want to come because they didn't want a sexy belly or booty, maybe it's a different, but I really think that for this challenge, it's super cool because we're going to touch people in all of their different points, and where it might be the kid thing, it might be the chemical thing, it might be the actual physical reaction thing, it might be the environment thing, but we're going to kind of hit all the nails on the head this month. And I think that's what's really, really cool about it, because it's shedding more light for some people in areas they wouldn't even think, like that what they're using and what they're doing on their day-to-day basis, like mostly like robots, you know, wiping the countertop, spraying this, does this smell good? You don't even like think about it.
Right.
So I think everyone's going to learn, get a little bit of taste of the stuff that they want, making over areas that they maybe have been thinking about, that have been on their mind, but also areas where they're like, oh, I never would have thought of that, or that never occurred to me, or I do that all the time. You know, there's so many areas like that. So I think that would be the only thing I would add to, before we get started on the slides, is just there's a little bit of, a lot of it for everybody and a little bit for everybody. You're going to get a bunch of different angles and points of view, and maybe a lot of light bulbs, hopefully a lot of light bulbs.
I love that you said that. And that's adding to our unicornness, is that it's an array of colors, and you guys get to pick, especially in this challenge, where you're at, what most concerns you, and you'll see that in the slideshow. I also heard what you, in that you said, is last month in the hormone code, if you guys were with us for that, we did unravel the whole mindset stuff. We talked about, you know, the triggers, the things that we could literally self-sabotage in our mind, these things that are not really stories that we make up about ourselves. And those are called blind spots. And those are things that you would categorize in there's the stuff that you know, and then you either can act upon that or you can choose to not. Like, I know that toxins are bad for me, right? Like, you guys know toxins are bad for me, right? You know that. And then I say to you, oh, well, you know, Crest toothpaste is awful. It's got all these things in it. You know, putting aluminum on your armpits is awful. And then here's the proof as to why. You could either go this direction and say, yeah, I need to do something about that. I don't want that. Or you can, and you could actually get to the solution. So you don't need aluminum in your armpits to plug up your armpits. You actually realize that your armpits are saying to you, I'm smelly because we're dirty in the liver. We need to fix the liver, not the armpit. Or you can go, you know what, just screw it. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for health. I don't want to slow down. I'm just going to pretend like I don't know this stuff. It's no longer a blind spot. It's what you have chosen. You've chosen to know this stuff, but you can't unknow it. Once you know it, you can't unknow it. So then there's the other segment of this, which is, I don't know what I don't know. And so when you don't know what you don't know, you can't do anything about it. So now you're exposing this other side, which is, holy crap, there's all this other stuff. And now that I know it, I can choose, do I want to do something about it? And how much do I want to do something about it? I can either, you know, I'm going to put my foot in a little bit with it, or am I going to go, no, wow, I know this stuff, and now I got to do something about it. And it becomes your responsibility. So you guys get to decide here. You always get to decide. So many people start our challenges, and a week into it, they're like, yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing all this stuff. And then life happens, and life is so hard, you know, all these things. And then you get sidetracked, and you're like, why does life have to be so hard? And the reason why life is so hard is because you're giving so much of about what other people think. You're out there going, and so really this boils down to, this is all about you and your family. And this is about stepping up as a leader and not caring about what other people think about you're doing, because they're going to look at you and think, oh man, what are you doing? Why are you using that, you hippie? Yes, I'm so proud that I'm, you know, this is what we're back to.
good. Everyone loves the way that what we're doing smells. They just don't know it yet. They're not familiar with it. So once you get familiar with it, even the skepticals have a nose. So at least they know it smells good. So
I like that. That's cute.
at the very least, that's what they're going to get is a nice whiff of what we're breathing. Then let them.
Literally a whiff in your mind and a whiff in your nasal passages and your senses. So I'm going to show you guys what a lot of the knowledge that I've amassed. I have a huge library of books and a huge Rolodex of mentors that I have embarked upon this journey on learning and empowerment. And it's not, I hear one thing one time and then just like spew it at you guys. This is the Walls Protocol. It's backwards, I think, on this screen, but it's Dr. Terry Walls.
I can see it the right way, so we'll see if everyone else can. But if not, I'll type it in the comments here.
Cool. So this is just one thing from the Walls Protocol. Dr. Terry Walls is one of the biggest leaders in the field of autoimmune disease, and this is something I specialized in too, is endocrinology. I can't diagnose or anything, obviously, but she talks about in this book that how she reversed her multiple sclerosis, like MS, and autoimmune disease right now is the #1 fastest growing killer. And the root of autoimmune disease is, guess what? It starts with a T. Anybody?
I think this is the easy one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nailed it. So the number one reason we have autoimmune disease is not genetics. It is toxins. And so she says in her book here, she talks a lot about a lot of the things that we actually do. I didn't really read all these chapters until like this morning when I was flipping through it. And I'm like, oh, look, she talks about dry brushing right here. And then she talks about detoxing and using all kinds of really powerful adaptogens. She talks about the sweat glands, the liver, all this stuff anyway. But what she says in here is something that I wanted to read to you, is that for the first time in the history of the world, every human being is now subjected to contact with dangerous chemicals from the moment of conception until death. In less than 2 decades of their use, the synthetic pesticides have been so thoroughly distributed through the animate and inanimate world that they occur virtually everywhere. And so all these studies that have been done have linked various environmental chemicals with a wide variety of health issues like neurodegeneration, mood disorders, diabetes, chronic heart disease, to cancer. And so she's got all sorts of things in here that talk about, of course, I'm not recommending this book to you guys right now necessarily. I'm just saying that these are a lot of the things that contribute to where I bring to you the source from where I'm bringing this information to you. So she talks about in this book, maximizing your body's natural detoxification processes, which is what we're going to do next month again in the Warrior Cleanse. And then to minimize your toxic exposure. So you can't just do a cleanse and expect that everything to go away. You have to make sure that you realize that the reason why we have to cleanse is because of what we're going to talk about today. We're exposed to a lot of chemicals. So the other #1 rule is if you see it on TV, it's not good for you. I mean, I don't really think that I've ever seen a commercial on TV and went, wow, that's good for everyone. Very few things. I don't really watch TV. That's also toxic. But you can choose what to watch. And then there's also, look how big this book is. This is a book written by my girlfriend. I've made very good friends with her over the years. Her name is Anna Victoria Rogers. I'm not saying that you need to necessarily go buy this book because we're going to simplify a lot of the stuff in the challenge this month. And this is why this challenge is so important. I'm taking 8 years of this stuff and condensing it. But this is a huge book. It's called Toxic World, Toxic People. And what she talks about in here is things like air fresheners. Look at this long list of toxins that are in air fresheners. I do not, and London and I are not saying that you have to understand what bromsalicylic and dichlorodifluoromethanol.
Spelling test. Everyone's gonna have to spell that by the end of the challenge.
Yeah, and the statement is, isn't it crazy that we make ourselves sick just by trying to improve the scent of our homes? Yeah, it smells better, but your liver's like choking. So anyway, I've read all of these books. I've read countless books and listened to tons of webinars and tons of radio shows about this stuff. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So we're trying to make it as simple as possible because you guys can take that route and you can go read tons of books and get a little bit sidetracked and confused and take the 3 to 5 year long journey to getting to that point. Or you could just go, you know what? London, Diane, and Alex and Maya have made it just super simple in this month, and we're just going to make it super condensed. So today we're going to talk about what this challenge is all about. We're not going to get into the solutions today. We're going to get into the whys. We're going to get into the seriousness of the matter, and then we're going to ask you guys some questions at the end, and then we're going to give you a call to action, and then we're all going to get started. actually starting this week. So it's going to be a month long, and then we're going to continue the journey next month, of course, and you guys can opt to do the warrior cleanse with us or not, but let's get started. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So I'm going to go through these slides pretty quickly, but I want you guys to know that there's going to be you're going to understand and learn how to find some of these things when you're in the MAYkover challenge. But I just want you guys to see the seriousness of what the average person, the average American, how they're cleaning their homes, how they're quote unquote perceptively cleaning their bodies or covering up the funk with parts of the chemicals that we're using, and which things are the most toxic. And also, like London said earlier, knowing that there's different states of our path that we're on. So you don't have to be an expert at anything. You could feel like you're an expert at something, but still be able to take away a ton from this month. So this is why we want to encourage you to get started with us, and also invite other people, because this is the key thing that most people will not understand until it's too late. Or 3 to 5 years from now. Like I said, we're always about 3 years ahead of the average person in the average American in these groups. So you're going to be, I wanted to congratulate all of you guys for being here today. And thank you again for being here today, prioritizing your body, your home, and your family, because it does take a lot of courage to take a stand like you are for yourself and your family. And it takes a lot of extra energy to be uniquely different. But after a while, you're like, yeah, man, this is awesome. This is so fun. So this is our challenge this month, is to detox your environment so that you can detoxify your body. And we spelled it like that, all cheeky, MAYkover challenge, because we're in the month of May. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do is reflect on our journey together so far. You know, some of us have been in this group for the last 6 months. Some people are just now starting, and wherever you are at is fine. So the first thing that we did was the warrior cleanse, and then we moved into the sexy booty, belly booty challenge. That was awesome, and that was me and London. That was our very first challenge together. We are improving upon all of this in terms of technology. And what I mean by that is some of you guys who are type A perfectionists like us in this group, like attracts like, right? We all want to be our best selves. We can't be perfect. We do our best. And so all of this information will soon be a place that you could log in on my website, and you could download it all. So it won't just be like Dropbox files. So that's the good news. That will actually be kicking off this month. So that's what's really awesome. So I wanted to thank all of you guys for your patience in all of these challenges. It will get better. It will be much more streamlined. These were our first challenges, which is also why they are so inexpensive, because you guys were the pioneers. You've been taking this off with us. So we wanted to thank you for being with us. This month in the Sexy Belly Booty Challenge, we did start talking a lot about the liver, the importance about gallbladder flushing. But again, the reason why we have all of these issues is because of toxins. So you guys learned a lot about dry brushing. You learned about how to get rid of cellulite. You learned about how to detox your gallbladder and trim your waistline instead of doing it the dangerous way, which is a lot of expensive procedures and chemicals, etc. So we started here. And then the next month, which was this past month, we had the hormone code. So we talked a lot about hormones and the reasons why our hormones are off, stemming from the mind, which is exactly where this beautiful chick is pointing at. She doesn't look like she feels beautiful in this moment, but she's pointing at her temple. We can manifest our own health issues with our toxic thoughts. So, you go in and you say, doctor, I'm feeling off. And they say, oh, of course, it's because of stress less. And you're like, well, I don't even know what that means. So we talked a lot about the key stressors in our lives. We didn't talk too much about toxins. We're going to go much deeper into how to eliminate them today. We talked about what's called xenoestrogens, and xenoestrogens are the things that are chemicals that resemble estrogens in the body, and they could be 30,000 times more potent than our own estrogen. And this is one of the reasons why girls at the age of 7 are able to have periods. This is why women are having perimenopause, premenopause. Our women are infertile. Men have erectile dysfunction. We're exhausted all the time. We can't sleep. These toxins are a big part of it. So we talked a lot about this and how to get xenoestrogens out of our life with food, and then also how to eliminate them, some intelligent product replacements, and then also understanding a little bit more about our cycle and how we can work with ourselves and love on our bodies. And then, of course, this is still important. Just because we're talking this month about the source of toxins, it doesn't mean that we obviously are done with the previous challenges. We want you to still keep doing the things that you really liked about the last challenge. And then also we're going to challenge you, even the things that maybe you didn't like. Why did you not like them? Did you think that they were hard? Were they an inconvenience to you? Were they hard to understand and you didn't speak up and ask for clarification? Did you quit because you thought, I'm a failure, so I'm gonna quit it because I'm just gonna fail this one again. It's not gonna work because the last thing didn't work. Like, what was it that you stopped doing? So we want you to continue with what you're doing in the previous challenges. We want to encourage you to keep going with that. Never stop the things that work, because we tend to, oh, that worked, and so I'm gonna quit. So, but we remember the things that are working, they're going to keep working for us if we keep working for them. And so starting with the hormone, the Love My Hormones shake, or starting the morning with your metabolic mocha, whatever worked for you, keep doing with it, but keep starting your day right with a smoothie of some kind. Your food is already pre-digested. We're going to talk more about that again in the Warrior Cleanse next month, but just keep remembering that whatever was working for you, don't just stop it. Because I hear that so much with my one-on-one clients. They're like, oh, I stopped doing it. I'm like, why? That's like quitting a relationship or having a divorce. Oh, things are going amazing, I want a divorce.
Right?
Yeah. What? So why would you do that to yourself? You're literally divorcing your health when you do that. So anyway, keep going with what's working. And I challenge you to, instead of choosing overwhelm, choose to go deeper and challenge yourself. And if you're feeling challenged, this is where you have your community. Ladies, I'm feeling challenged. I'm feeling like I want to quit, and we'll help you. So lean into us, and you can lean deeper into yourself that way. Okay, what is your goal? So every single time we embark on something that's new, what is it that you want out of anything? So just as it's important to know where you started, it's important to know where you're going. So you don't leave the house like, you're like, hey, I'm gonna go meet someone for lunch. I've never been to this restaurant before. Where is it? It's somewhere like that way. I don't know. Well, do you think it's intelligent to pull your GPS out and start using your Waze or your GPS? Nah, I'm just gonna leave the house. I'm just gonna figure it out. Sheila, you live in New York, sweetheart. How do you know where to go? So that's just one example. Don't leave the house without knowing where you're gonna go, you guys. So it's very important to be very clear about what you wanna get out of something, because disappointment falls always in terms of we expect something, but then we don't get what we are expecting. So be very clear with what it is that you're desiring out of this month. Get real clear with what do you want for yourself, which is the same template we use every single challenge. What do you want out of this? What do you want from this? What do you want for your family from this? And be real clear. Don't get too over expectant of yourself, because you know that that's what's going to create your disappointment, is that you perceivedly continue to fail because you set crazy lofty goals. But just what is your goal with this one? I would like to remodel, my kitchen, my bathroom, and my gym bag, or something like that. I want to, let's say even this, of all the things that Diane and London and Alex and Maya throw out, I want to be able to implement 50% of them. That's a good one, because a lot of us are like, oh man, I think I only did like 10% of the last one and I quit after week 1. Yeah, why? So if your goal is, I want to finish this thing through the end and implement 50% of what they're talking about. Cool. Well, that's a measurable goal, right? So what do you want out of this? And even if there's symptoms like allergies and things, write those down after this webinar, because you guys are going to have an idea of the things that are possible to eliminate. So you're going to learn more about what these toxins cause and some of the things that are real quick to reverse. And then there's going to be some things like autoimmune disease that do take some time. You can work with me one-on-one if you want to eliminate an autoimmune disease, or if you know someone who has those issues, refer them to me one-on-one, and then they can see in this webinar too, as well as this challenge, just how much toxins are affecting them, as well as our children, and ADHD and ADD and all of these things. So this is, again, where are you starting? So what's your point A? Very important. Where did you come from? Because it's hard for us to be, we are always so quick to be hard on ourselves, but it's important to know, well, gosh, look where I came from. I've came, this many steps. Well, then we can celebrate. So don't be so hard on yourself on what you have not yet accomplished. Yet look back even a week ago from now, and you can go, wow, I replaced one thing. Victory. The only failure is to not start. The only failure is to not start. So you're in the game as long as you are in the vibe, in the community, and you're keeping at pace with us. And again, this is just trying something new. The number one thing that keeps you in the game is trying something new, stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that you are afraid of. That is your victory.
100%. I agree. In anything, if you want to get better at something, you have to step further out of your comfort zone, not find a place to get more comfortable. 100%.
Yep. So step into challenge and step out of comfort. That's why these are called challenges. They're not called comfortables. They're not called snuggies.
We're all come sit on our couch and do nothing. It's like a Facebook couch group where we just sit.
That's a great idea. Just sit and we'll just look at each other. So there are 3 different types of people who are starting this challenge. And you guys will be able to identify where you are. And this is kind of the where are you now, right? Are you the confused unicorn who is using the toxic products that maybe your mom and your grandma did? And that's not to say that your grandma or your mom are horrible people. So if you took that personal, that's another one of those, things from last month we talked about, like, what's your story and like, what are the things that trigger you? So no, we're not saying that anybody's wrong or bad. We're saying that there are a lot of toxic chemicals that are out there that we're seeing on commercials. The things that are the most heavily advertised are like Procter & Gamble. Those are the ones that are the most well-known. Those are the ones that are the most toxic. Those are the ones that are the most convenient and cheap, but they are not good for our health, obviously. So if you're confused and you're like, man, there's a lot of stuff out there, of course you might feel a little overwhelmed. Take that feeling and realize that's just an emotion, that is not reality. You are not going to be overwhelmed in this challenge if you just listen and you just replace. It's very simple. Try this, not that. It's going to be really straightforward. So don't let your oh God, there's so much stuff, get in the middle of all this. You can be confused, but just realize you're going to be empowered if you allow new information to come in and keep trying new things and be as engaged and active in the community as possible. So you can be confused and you're like, I need to remodel everything. Oh my God, my whole life. And then you could also be a person that goes, oh, everything's going to kill us. Cancer's just going to, and I hear this a lot. People go, oh, cancer's, everyone's going to get cancer. Everything's toxic. Well, that's just like a passive aggressive way of like saying, no, I know that there's things that are out there that are not good for us, but I'm just going to choose to put my hands over my ears. You can be confused and empowered, and that's what we want you to be, instead of confused and overwhelmed and disengaged.
Mm-hmm.
Curious. Now, you could be someone who's maybe 50-50. Like maybe you have been, you're out shopping. You're like, I don't know how to read this label. I don't even know what this is. This woman's face is not my face. The first time that I looked at some of these ingredients, my face was like, I'm so upset. I don't understand what this means. And my face was very, very disappointed. Like, how did it get to this? Where does this stuff come from? So curious is probably someone who might be like half and half, maybe even 80-20, like 20% of the things that you're using are a little more healthy, and or things that maybe you've learned in the previous challenges. And maybe you think they're healthy, but they're really not too. Like you hear the word minerals. Oh, that sounds good. You hear the word essential oils and you're like, well, that sounds healthy. But really there's a lot of deceit out there. So things will say essential oils, but they're actually not organic. They're actually synthetically derived. So there's a lot of lies out there. And for a long time, I've been thinking about making a documentary called Labelize. And Labelize would be training you to have label eyes, understanding how to read labels, understanding what things mean, not to understand all 85,000 plus chemicals that are out there, but understanding how to have eyes that know what to look for. And then also label lies, Lies. So, essential oils made with minerals. And you're like, oh, that sounds really sexy and beautiful and unicorny. I'm going to buy that. Lie. It's a lie. So a lot of these products will say made without parabens. And you're like, oh, that's wonderful. But then you're along the spectrum. It's not to say that I don't want you to feel shamed, but we're all being duped. All of us. And you know what?
When I think about that too, I think about maybe the people that, let's say like they see it's like eco-friendly or like organic. So they buy it just because they think they're supposed to and their intention is like there. But that's where so many people are, where they're just kind of like, okay, what I don't know, but they know that there's something that they should know. You know what I mean? So you're like in between where okay, there's something about these labels that makes it something I should pay attention to, but the less I know, the more I have to do. And so I would say I give this person a small amount of credit and a small amount of like time to do something about it, because they kind of know what they should be doing. They're thinking about it, but they are kind of in that in-between spot where they haven't fully jumped in to educate themselves, which I think is where like the boom and fireworks and magic and everything really happens. So I think that curious point is, of course, not a bad place to be, but it's just kind of, I think people's, let's say, like we did in last month's challenge. Yeah, like our trump card, or like the thing that we say often, well, I buy the organic one, or I get the paraben free, or I get the energy saving one. So that's all I can do, but not taking the time to dig deeper. So I think this is kind of like, it's kind of like you're on the edge of the pool, and then this challenge, we're going to push you in the pool.
Yes, yes, yes. And hey, guess what?
Sorry,
London?
not sorry. It wasn't an accident, but maybe it was. But I love it.
I love it. Yes, push us in the pool. Please push me in the pool. I hope you guys want to be pushed in the pool. I mean,
swimsuit on first. It won't be with your clothes on. I'm not that mean, but you're going to get pushed.
You know, or you can go in naked, you know, get real vulnerable, get raw. Literally, as you were saying that, London, I got a text from a guy I met in the airplane on the way to Costa Rica. Super cool guy. We were talking the same language about the same stuff. Like he did like a landmark also. And so I was like, whoa, I could talk with someone about, you know, the Trump card and the act and the excuses that we literally live by that keep us out of the game and in the stands and judging everyone else on the field. Oh, I would have made that play instead. Like, no. You got to get on the field. You got to get your feet wet. You got to fall. You got to bleed. You got to get like hurt. You got to get back up. You got to feel what that feels like to quote unquote fail and fall and get up and succeed, because you're on the field. You're not in the stands judging everyone else and wishing that you could have the courage to play the game. And he said this, he just texted me this. Happy Monday. I just got this nugget and I wanted to share it with you. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. This is how you break the plateau and reach the next level.
Love it.
He just literally sent that to me as you were talking.
Perfect timing. Well, he felt what we were feeling. You know what I mean? All the vibes.
The vibe is there. And if you guys are watching this, there is no accidents. You are here because you want to break free from things that you feel as though you can't control, but you can. And so we're going to focus on that this month. You may be somebody who's already committed. You may be someone who, I've heard this once. One person opted out of the challenge because she said, I feel like I've got all this down. Girlfriends, I have been doing this for like 8 years now, the real functional medicine stuff. I've been doing health since I was 17, fitness since I was born, but the chemicals and the toxins and the functional medicine stuff for 8 years, and I still do not have all of this down. So the moment our brain and our ego decides, oh, I got all of this, is the moment you check out of the game. In fact, you might not even watch the game anymore. You're like, I got this. So always be humble and curious, which is why, confused, curious, committed. I would even say that for me, I'm curious, committed, right? So we're always on a path. We're always on a path, and there's always things changing. So I don't believe that, everyone's always going to have 100% of all of it, which is what keeps us on our toes and humble, right? The moment we think we know everything is the moment we're out of the game and we stop learning and we stop growing and we stop evolving. So you might even be on the path where you feel like, I've done a lot of this stuff. I feel like I get it all down. But as long as you have that peak of curiosity, you will be able to grow even more and learn a lot from this group and from this next challenge. So let's get started. Why cleansing your body is so important. I wanted to share these statistics. Toxins are the key contributor to disease today. 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will get cancer. Our kids have shorter lifespans for the first time ever in human history, and that is because of toxins. The third thing is autoimmunity is the fastest growing disease and the top killer today. We will talk about why, which is toxins. As you guys possibly know, and I think I brought it up in this webinar, but I had Hashimoto's. I had an autoimmune disease, and everybody on both sides of my family, or I'm sorry, not everybody, but both sides of my family have autoimmune disease and cancer. And then of 85,000 chemicals approved for use today, only a few hundred have been approved for safety. Look at that again. Of 85,000 plus chemicals approved for use today since it was really since the World War II, when we started to want more convenience. Only a few hundred have been approved for safety, which means that there are tens of thousands, almost 100,000 chemicals now that have never been tested in a lab for human safety, which is crazy. So I want to look at this video, and I want to see if you guys can see this. This is the first thing. Can you guys hear and see this video? Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a lot of chemicals in our environment. Chemicals make up everything around us, including our own bodies. Chemicals such as water, oxygen, and carbon are essential to life. But many other chemicals can be toxic, including substances that can cause cancer, known as carcinogens. Carcinogens can damage our DNA and the way our cells work. Our bodies have built-in defenses to stop or correct this damage. But sometimes these safety mechanisms fail, allowing genetic changes to accumulate. Once healthy cells can transform, aggressively growing and dividing. This uncontrolled cell growth is what we know as cancer. Unlike normal cells, cancer cells do as they please. They hide from our immune system and form tumors that create their own blood supply. They can even invade other organs. These are some of the characteristic hallmarks of cancer. They're what distinguish cancer cells from normal cells. Right now, scientists test individual chemicals one at a time to see if they can cause cancer on their own. Chemicals that break our defenses and cellular controls, triggering a series of cellular changes that create the characteristic hallmark properties, eventually leading to cancer. This research has revealed a lot about carcinogens, but it doesn't tell the full story. Since the 1970s, about 85,000 chemicals have been approved for commercial use. People come in contact with these chemicals every day, and we don't experience them one at a time. Scientists have found hundreds of carcinogens in people. A group of scientists taking part in the Halifax project have a new theory that combinations of chemicals could act together to contribute to cancer. As with individual carcinogens, each component of a chemical mixture could knock down the body's defenses and cellular controls, triggering the hallmarks one by one. Combined, a mixture of chemicals could unleash a similar cascade of cellular changes, transforming healthy cells to cancer cells. We continue to try to piece together the causes of cancer. What types of carcinogens might be undetected because we have failed to study how combinations of chemicals affect people who are exposed. To take that next giant leap to prevent and treat cancer, we need to understand how the many chemicals we encounter interact to affect our bodies. Cancer haunts so many of us. More than 1.5 million Americans will be diagnosed this year alone. Now is the time to take control of our health and avoid the toxic chemicals that may cause cancer.
Whoa, buddy.
I love it. That was so cute. And I love the animation. I mean, of course, it was a sad topic and something that we're going to all kick ass at this month, but that was really sweet to share. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of cute. They got like, nice music, but they're talking about, some crappy topics. But I think it's like the music is like, hey, you can make a change. But it's not the same music that you see on TV. It's like, hey, talk to your doctor if you have this problem. And then if you like the rest of it. What?
You said side effects may include loss of eyesight. If you have weakness or short of breath, please contact your healthcare provider immediately. It's like, what? Half the time, they're like, the whole commercial is someone like dancing in the flowers and side effects being read for like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And
I never watched TV, but over Easter weekend, I was with a friend.
And that's what I saw at my parents' house. And we don't even have commercials like that in Austria. And I don't even watch TV, so I never see it. But I was reminded, I was like, what is this?
Yeah. It was like a couple, actually many of them were mental disease. And that's, you guys, bipolar, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, all these things are from toxins. It's like a chemical imbalance, and it's not from the chemicals of our genetics. It's the chemicals that we're exposed to that trigger this cascade. As you guys saw, it's not just one chemical. It's the combination of these chemicals. And then if you look at like the fun drug facts, they're like, oh, so you have bipolar disease. Well, you should take this medication. You won't be so bipolar, but it could cause depression and it could cause death. And it's like, wait, I'm gonna reverse my bipolarness, and it's going to be a different kind of mental disease. So you guys, we're much more wise now. I don't have to beat this dead horse. You guys are getting it. You're here because you get it. But this is some of the stuff that now you're seeing. It's not just the drugs. It's like when you see people, it's hard for me to go to Walmart. If I don't go to Walmart, I just do that to kind of people watch sometimes, but Target or anywhere. And I see, an average grocery store even. That's why it's hard for me just to walk into an average grocery store, because they don't have the solutions that I'm looking for. So that's something we're going to talk about this month, is where to find this stuff and how to find it and how it can be convenient. You could be curious and committed, but it can be convenient, and it actually can be not as costly. So we're going to teach you guys how to find these things and how to make them yourself. And so you guys have this wide spectrum of how to dive in. And if you don't dive in, we're going to push you in. Remember that.
For sure.
Lovingly, of course. So now here are the things that we are diving in. Our bodies are literally bathing in these things. So this may be you, might not be you. You might be past the spectrum of understanding that Tide is absolutely toxic. On the scale of things, this is from ewg.org. We're going to teach you how to look for this stuff. And actually, if you don't even care about, what products are bad and what to look for, we're just going to teach you which ones to use instead. Because some people are like, just tell me what to do. So what's that?
I said exactly, totally. Some people might, I think everyone will want to care, but some people might not. So we'll break it fully down. Down.
So Tide, most widely used detergent in America. Guys, if I use this now, it wasn't always this way, but it was once I started to cleanse my body and care more about, what I was putting on, in, or around it. And then I used Tide a couple times. I didn't use it, but where I was living used it. And then, they were being really sweet and they used it. And I was like, oh crap. And I was like, let me see what happens. And either I laid in a bed that was using Tide, or I put on a shirt and they had used Tide with their clothes. And I was like itching all day long. My nose was running. I was sneezing. As you guys can see here, this is a big part of reproductive toxicity, developmental issues, infertility, cancer. So every one of these products is listed. We're going to show you guys how to look for this stuff, and it's listed from A to F. Tide has an absolute F. Now, and we're going to teach you what to use instead. Airwick. Oh God, it smells so bad. That rap song, it's like, put some Febreze on it. And so that's like, people laugh at that stuff, and if you walk into any household now, you're going to see Febreze, you're going to see Glade plug-in, you're going to see Airwick, you're going to see Citrus Magic, for pooping and spraying after your poop is done. You're going to see it everywhere. That's just, people don't even think twice. Why? Because they trust that. Why would they put this out in circulation if it was bad for us? We blindly trust. But yet we are so much less trusting in relationships, and we're here for love. But we're trusting, the EPA more than we are trusting our own intuition. That's a problem. We're also trusting doctors more than we're trusting our innate wisdom and intuition about our bodies. That is a problem. So we're teaching you guys how to reconnect with your body's innate wisdom. And the best way to do that is to get these things out of your life, because they are absolutely getting in the way of your intuition. They're clouding your mind, they're causing brain fog, and they're destructing your pineal gland. And your pineal gland is what actually is your seat of intuition. And so Airwick also gets an F. Oh, hey, it smells better in here though, but your developmental and reproductive toxicity is bad, and you have erectile dysfunction, and you're itching, and you're taking some sort of antibiotic because that's all the doctor need to do to you. And you're maybe on an inhaler too. So this is the reality for children, and this is the reason why children have less years to live than their parents, because they're exposed to some of this. And I keep hearing stories of 12-year-olds, 24-year-olds dying of cancer, and it's not fair, it's so sad, God took them too soon. No, we got to open up our eyes to this, you guys, and until we do, God's going to keep, quote unquote, taking them too soon. Glade. Oh man, it smells bad. My pet just puked all over the place. I got to spray some Glade on it, or sprinkle this Glade on it. Well, you've got skin allergies and irritation. Your dog's going to lay down on that carpet later on, and we wonder why pets are dying of cancer. We say cancer is a mind issue, and we are creating, cancer it's our mental toxicity. Animals don't really have that as much. Animals are dying because of the chemicals that we're using, and then you've got your babies crawling on the carpet after we've used this Glade, also crawling on the carpet after we've used Pine Sol. Another one, you crawling on the floor, the wood floor. We've used Pine Sol down there. Oh, look at the environmental toxicity of that. Our kids are not going to live as long as we are because of this. Let me go back to where I was.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at you if you heard me laugh, but you said they throw Pine Sol down there. And I just kept on thinking of like using Pine Sol or products that have things like that too. Like we talked about last month for like the spray stuff that people use to spray actually down there, like in their. Yeah, in their Goddess garden. And yeah, it made me think of, we said, just throw Pine Sol down there. That's what it reminded me of, because of all the chemicals that are in the ones for those too. So we're spraying them like on us, in us, around us, all over us.
Totally. They're no different, right? That's spraying our beautiful Goddess gardens with these really toxic things that claim to be vaginal deodorants. and they're really, ovarian cancer creators and infertility inspirationals, and they're sex drive killers. So these chemicals, and it's a great point, London, these chemicals that we're literally plugging into the wall to make the room smell better, those are things that are actually they're no different. They're the same chemicals that we're being told to use to make our body smell better. Same thing with like Lysol bathroom cleaner. You guys see all this. These are the most common things. I did want to point out with Glade has a D because all it is fragrance. And so you see the word fragrance and you're like, well, that smells hot. That smells sexy. I want to rub Glade all over my thyroid and my beautiful goddess garden. I want to rub it on my butt because, what if me and my husband later on get busy? I want to smell like a Glade. I want to smell like fragrance. I want to cover up the nasty smell that's come out of my armpits because, I don't know, I smell bad and I'm insecure about it. But maybe instead we just question, why do I smell bad? My liver's trying to say, hey, through your armpits, you're toxic, sister. You got to do something about this down here, in here, right? So there really is no difference, Lyndon, in what we're spraying on our body, putting inside of our body. The drugs that we take, we're not questioning. The over-the-counters, we're going to go over all of that. The stuff that you're using in your car, your gym bag, the things that you use when you're desperate and you're reaching for painkillers when you're on your first 3 days of your cycle and you have extraordinary cramps. These are all things we're going to cover this month. Lysol gets another F. And Downy, oh man, but our clothes going to smell good. And you hear a lot of guys complaining, but if we use the natural stuff, it's not going to make my clothes smell as good. And the reason why our clothes smell so bad is because we're sweating in them, and our sweat is smelling bad because we're so toxic. Do you guys see that correlation? Like the cool thing now is the very second week of this challenge, as in next week, I'm going to do a full-on house makeover with someone. And it's a guy and a son, and I'll tell you who it is maybe next week. But we're doing product swaps. And they don't know better, but they're men. And, anyone, we smell through our sweat. We excrete through our kidneys, through our liver, our bowels, and our sweat. And if we smell bad, we're going to do everything we need to do to cover it up. And so that's just going to make us smelling even worse. It's this vicious cycle. We use these chemicals, these toxins, and it makes our liver even more toxic. We're going to smell even worse. It creates a beautiful codependence to have to need these things. I realize now that I don't sweat or smell anymore. I used to sweat so bad that when I would do big presentations, when I was a financial planner, I would have to wear black or I'd have to use Mitchum deodorant. I know women who are injecting their armpits so they don't sweat through their pores. This is awful to do to your body. It's like putting duct tape over your beautiful baby who's crying and trying to tell you I'm hungry. Your armpits are saying, hey, we're dirty. So clean us up on the inside instead of just masking tape where you're trying to get toxins out. That's the number one best way to get breast cancer, is to use these aluminum-based deodorants, which is here, aluminum-based deodorants and all sorts of other things that are in here that are creating allergies, immunotoxicity, etc. So anyway, you guys are getting the idea. Febreze is another one. Let's just spray it over. It's going to smell better. We use it in our cars. We use it on our clothes. We're using it on our kids. When I say we're using it on our kids, we're all breathing it in. So it's time to cleanse your home. Da, 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 da. Insert in walks the Unicorn Wellness Warriors, and your guys' willingness to also cleanse your kitchen, cleanse your bathroom, cleanse your bedroom. And hey, if we're doing this, we hope that you guys are doing more in the bedroom, because you're going to have less chemicals and toxins in your life that destroy your sex drive. Yes, it is that serious. Your sex drive has everything to do with the chemicals and the toxins that you're using in and around your home. We're going to cleanse your car. No, London and I and Alex and Maya are not available for hire. We're not going to walk over with a hose and clean your car, but we're going to teach you how to cleanse the inside of your car and the chemicals and toxins that you could use that are healthy for you. We're going to cleanse your family. We're going to cleanse your children. This is all an indirect benefit. And what we're going to be using is some doTERRA products. We're going to use a lot of essential oils. We're going to teach you how to get take a lot of these oils for a test drive. They get a lot of miles. Lemon, if you think about like Pine Sol, it smells like lemon, but it's artificial and it's overbearing and overpowering, and it's super toxic, as you guys saw a few slides ago. But we're going to be using things like lemon. We're going to be using things like On Guard. We have a whole line. If you guys are not opting and willing to use the essential oils from doTERRA, there are some other places that other brands that we're going to be recommending. where you can buy them. We're going to talk about that as well. But the top 3 ones that we're going to be talking about are lavender, On Guard, and lemon. Those are the most cleansing ones. And then there's also other things that will be, of course, we're going to be giving you guys a ton of recipes, a ton of resources, a ton of healthy product swaps, how to get rid of some pain, the medicine cabinet makeover, trying this instead of this sort of things, a lot of education. So right now we want to know, how do you feel? This is a lot of information that we just, kind of spewed at you. Hopefully what you feel now is, instead of confusion, you feel inspiration, and you feel a desire, a strong pull to understand what's happening with our species as human beings, because right now we're more human doings than human beings. We're doing our to-do list. We're obsessed with checking things off of that. We're obsessed with looking and appearing a certain way instead of feeling a certain way. So we want to transfer this challenge over to, how do you feel? And realizing that you're going to feel a ton better throughout all of this month, because you're getting rid of the things that are making you feel bad and toxic and slowed down and endocrinely disrupted and hormonally exhausted and sleep deprived and all the things we talked about today. So hopefully you're feeling empowered to get started with our MAYkover challenge. Okay, so on my website, you just go to dianekazer.com, because the next question is how do I get started? Is if you guys are, excuse me, if you guys are already in the monthly Warrior membership, then you guys don't have to do anything. You've already paid for that. If you're new to this, all you have to do is scroll down my website, and this is going to look totally different in a week, but just for now, you can see this. You'll see somewhere that says MAYkover challenge, and you're going to click on that. And in here, all you have to do is click add to cart. So it's $67, and you don't have to do anything else other than this. But in this description down here, we do talk about how you can join this challenge for free. If you're brand new to us, you can decide on one of these 2 kits that you want to purchase. You just click on here and you can see which kits they are and what they mean. When I first started with doTERRA, I got this one, the Home Essentials kit. And that's this one.
That one too, I love it. And I love that diffuser that it comes with, because it's small and I bring it to work, or I bring it in my bedroom, or I use it whenever I need it, because it's super convenient and easy.
Yeah, I have a diffuser in every room. So, and every for me means my room and the kitchen. But
if only 2 rooms that are important anyways.
Yes, in your children's room too. You've got to have in your children's room. If you have an office at work, you bring it to your office at work. And this is how you also inspire change. And if you're a doTERRA member and you're also, let's say you're a health coach, you're a fitness trainer, you're one of my clients, and you're spreading the word, you can also make money by spreading the word. And what better way of doing it by having a diffuser at your office, and people are gonna be like, whoa, what's that amazing smell over there? And they walk over and they're like, that smells amazing. I want to learn more about that. And so you've got your diffuser in the office, and you're actually, maybe some people don't even care about this stuff, but you're actually loving them through the air by diffusing Breathe or something, and people are breathing better. And they're like, well, all of a sudden my health the last week has been better and I've been breathing better. And you're like, it's probably because I'm diffusing Breathe. Will you finally listen to me now?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I have diffusers everywhere, and I teach people to have diffusers around them all the time, because the 95% of the toxins that we're exposed to are in our home and our offices. And so that's the way you're going to clean the air. We're going to talk about that. This is the one I recommend hands down more than any other kit. I get most people started with this one. So if you've never joined with doTERRA, you join this. This month, doTERRA has an amazing opportunity as well, where you get $50. It's $50, meaning like 50 points for if you started. So let's say you're London's friend and you just got started, and London's like, hey, do this, get these Home Essentials kit. You're gonna get 50 points, and London's gonna get 50 points, and you guys could both buy, like, let's say lemon is like $10. That's 10 points. You get 5 lemons for free. So it's a very rare thing. They don't always do this. So it's a really great month to start and get kicked off. You would get 50 points, either one of these kits. So get started with whichever one you'd like. This is just 1/3 of the size. So these guys are here, the same oils, but they're 5 milliliter bottles instead of the, oops.
Yeah, you're right. So it's without the diffuser. Same oils, smaller bottles, no diffuser.
Yep, exactly. So, and then there's no diffuser, and then there's a couple of these beadlet droplet guys that you can also get. So I can't recommend enough doing this one. It is an investment, but what better investment can you make in your health? If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So some of you guys might be like, oh, I don't have the money. And that's like the number one thing you always say when, you kick off on a new venture. Like, if I had the money, I would do it. but have you been saying that your whole life? What if all of a sudden you had your health and you had 3 times more energy and you were now able to do the things that you wanted to do to make more money? What if all of a sudden you were feeling more confident and you were able to manifest the people into your life that you want because you started loving on your own body? So really, we always prioritize what we want in our life. And if we value people's approval, we will go buy $275 purses. If we value fitting in and having a nice car because we live in a place that people drive nice cars, we will go, get a $500 payment for a BMW. And we won't blink an eye, but we say we can't afford other things. If we value our health, we will spend $275 on something that could really turn our life around, help our health, improve our symptoms, our disease, and keep us as far away from cancer as possible. I know that some of you guys who are in this webinar right now have had cancer. And I know that a lot of you guys don't want to have cancer and have had family members who have been impacted by cancer. So this webinar and this month is not just about cancer prevention, it's about health improvement and disease prevention all around. So I hope you guys know that. I mean, we talked a lot about cancer, but cancer is like the thing and everybody's afraid of it, right? So this is how you guys get started. You add, if you're brand new to the challenge, you have 2 options. You can just buy the challenge itself, or you can fill this information out down here and then let us know which one of the kits that you want after clicking on them and discovering which one it is that you want. And then once we see that, then we get started. And once we see everybody who wants to sign up, we're going to kick this off. I would say Wednesday, we're going to have all of the documents out and we'll have everybody added to Facebook group. So make sure that you have decided which one you want within the next couple of days. If you guys have any questions, let me switch this back over. Stop sharing. Here we go. You guys can see us again.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I'm getting a lot of texts and my my podcast partners here because we've got a radio show. We've got to record now.
I'm really excited about this. It's really, I mean, just to go back to the goal setting thing, I would say my goal is really to tackle a lot of the laundry stuff and a lot of the medicine cabinet stuff. So not to give too much away what you guys are doing, but it's true. Even though we might think we got it all down pat, sometimes I forget. And I'm like, oh yeah, I took a challenge to remind me that I haven't, I don't know, dry brushed in a while, or I forgot about that particular smoothie, or I just, my brain was somewhere and I just forgot to do something. So I think it's really cool to continue learning, continue growing together, and just kind of, doing life and having fun. I'm excited. Yeah.
I mean, we all need to be put in check. Like life happens and then we get sidetracked and then we forget about ourselves. And, I love the question. If I were to ask you right now, name, 5 people who you love in your life, or even 3 people who you love in your life, we would be the last person we put on there. Mm-hmm. You should be the number 1 person that you love, because if you have love for yourself, then you have love for everybody else. And people say, oh, that's really selfish. No, it's not. It's selfish not to love yourself, because then you're going to depend on other people for love. So these challenges and this community and continual learning is how we keep reminding ourselves of what really matters. And we keep checking ourselves, because without accountability, I wouldn't be where I'm at either, because I would be like, oh, well, I'm going to go over here. So this group is about accountability just as much as education, and making it fun, and just having a space just to be like, hey, dude, I'm going to be super raw and vulnerable right now. I am just unmotivated. I'm like in my head about stuff. The more real and raw you are, the more willing to be seen you are, the more you could truly invoke change. So here's London and I pushing you into the pool.
Are you done? You're too nice. You're going slow. They'll see you.
That's why I put it on there. So I knew you would
hit the elbow.
So here's me going like this, and the London's like, psh. So
no, I think it's going to be really fun. I'm super, super, super stoked for this month. And I challenge everyone who's watching to tell a friend. It was so cool because when I posted this on Facebook, a lot of people so many more people than I actually thought would. For more of the fitness and health and sexy belly booty challenge. I thought that would probably be the biggest reaction from my audience and people that I work with, just based on what I normally post. I'm not really posting so much about things in our home, as far as besides, like some cleaning products. I post a lot about my diffuser, but not really about like what I'm scrubbing my toilet with, or like what I spray on my yoga mat, or just like that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I posted the stuff on Facebook, and so many people that don't react to the more fitness related stuff were really, really, taken aback. They didn't, realize how many toxins were actually in their home based on the products they were using and the ones that we were sharing, just kind of getting people excited about this month. Right. So I encourage, this might be the chance for those people that don't want to hear about health and fitness. You know, they don't want to know which smoothie they should be drinking or workouts they should be doing, but they sure as hell care, you know, what their 2-year-old toddler is like chewing on the corner of the table when they're cleaning it with all this shit. So I just challenge you guys all to maybe tell someone about this that you think would benefit from being a part of this community and just learning a bit more, and maybe someone you wanted to connect with, you know, or kind of help take that next step, but you weren't really sure how because they weren't really into the health and fitness thing or whatever some people like to call it. This is a cool time to bring in, you know, other people that maybe, you know, that everyone has a family or just people that they care about at a home. And when you're, you know, the air you breathe in such concentrated amounts, and like my apartment, for example, is so small, you know, like I have windows, and of course every morning I'm opening everything up and airing it out, but like when I'm cleaning up or whatever, I'm in a small space. And so that's compared to somebody else's house is different. But I'm like, if I was using chemicals to clean everything up in here, I'd just be like hotboxing myself with chemicals. Yeah. Like, what's hotbox? Like, yeah, just.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And then the other thing too, is that really with the stuff that's being sprayed outside and like in Southern California, especially, you know, we can control where we live, but like, you know, my kids are going to school here and stuff. So the respiratory issues that are happening now, the allergies, et cetera, we're just going, oh, it's one of those bad seasons. It's only bad because of our toxic overload. So, you know, all of a sudden I got allergies, or all of a sudden I got skin disorders or issues, or, you know, all of a sudden my kid has ADHD. This is just no all of a sudden, you guys. This is an accumulation of toxins that have been happening for a long time that started in us and our moms. We've been passing down through the womb. And if we can't get them out, they stay in our body and they cause problems. And so this, more than anything, is the best cleanse that you can do, is getting the reasons to need to cleanse as far away from your bodies and your children's bodies as possible, because they are everywhere, literally everywhere. And it's time that we become conscious about that, not just for our families, but also for the environment and our beautiful sea creatures and things that are literally dying because of it, because of us. So if you don't care about yourself, care about your kids, care about the environment, and then over time you'll start loving yourself. That's the hardest thing to do. So join us, you guys. And like London said, this is where we want to challenge you. Is number 1, join us. Number 2, share this with everyone who has a body. Oh, but I don't know. Are they going to be ready to hear this? What will they think? Are they going to think I'm a hippie? Really? They need this too, guys. So it's time that we all have compassion for each other and share this love. And if they don't want to do it, if they want to judge you, whatever, they shouldn't be a part of your life anyway. But if they care and if they want to put their foot in and then have us push them in, we're here. We're going to take a stand for all of you, especially this month. It's going to be awesome, fun, intense, and you're going to learn a ton. And like I said, what do you want for yourself? What is your goal? And where are you at right now? So we're going to get started on Wednesday. We'll start sharing some documents in there. I will also share the replay link tonight so that you can share that with your people. That also has the page to enroll if they want to. Make sure that if you are not yet, join the Unicorn Wellness Warrior Facebook group. Add yourself to that. One of us will approve you. And that's where you're going to find also the link to share that. And then London will share it on her wall. Alex will. Maya will. So if you're a part of any one of our communities, post it on your wall. And then we'll all do this together. Balls to the wall.
And then one person, just really quick, to answer, just because I saw it and I think this is important. She asked if you have a Facebook to be a part of the MAYkover Challenge. So once you sign up, the Unicorn Wellness Warriors group is our 365 all the time, everything free happening in the Unicorn Wellness Warriors group. But for every month for the challenge, we have a different Facebook group, and that's a private one for just the people that sign up for the challenge. So you'll have that one to interact, to be asking very challenge specific questions, sharing challenge specific inspiration and all that kind of stuff with each other. And then the Unicorn Wellness Warriors group is the one where we like all hang out all the time.
Yep.
That makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
And this month I will be bringing on Anna. She's this is a special announcement. I will be bringing her on to do a very special webinar with us. She's amazing.
Lots of information.
Yeah, she's
information. I would say like all the stuff, the paper that they're going to get, the documents, plus, we'll be in the group together. So in the group, the separate group where people that sign up for the challenge are, that's where you'll get information about, the webinar and all that kind of stuff. I'm excited.
Yep. Tons of stuff. We've already got, I would say 90% of the material ready to go for you guys. So it'll be better than even last month. And of course, we're always open for suggestion and questions. So if there's anything that you guys want us to cover, we can always add some materials if it's not too much extra work. But we're always listening and we're always, surveying you guys. So hopefully, if you did the challenge last month, we've heard from you. We know what you want more of, and that's why we make this continual and making it all about you. So see you guys in there once we get the confirmation that you guys joined the challenge or submitted the entry form to get and be a part of the challenge, and that we will get your essential oil kits and everything in the mail within a week, and you will have all of that. So everything's included. We're stoked to have you. We can't wait to see you guys. And if you're new to the group, welcome, and we will see you in the official Facebook private group, and we'll add you in there. And then we all start gliding away from Glades and toward the things that actually contribute to health instead of take away, because the recipes that you guys are going to be using are things that you can put in your body too. It's not just for cleaning the things you're putting on the countertops are things that you could actually eat. Yeah, cool.
You can literally eat off the countertops.
Literally, lick your plate and then lick the countertops, lick the floor.
Yeah, right. All of it. Tastes good.
For the first time ever. Okay, guys, have an amazing Monday, and we will see you on Wednesday in the group, if not sooner. And we can't wait to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited. Bye. Happy MAYkover kickoff.
Yeah.